Hello, hello, welcome back. Things are happening in the studio. This video is sponsored by the Estelle Center for Creative Arts, a retreat center in La Vida, Colorado. Not only are they sponsoring this video, but they have invited me to teach there next summer. My Faces and Figures workshop is now open for registration, and I'll put the link here for you for easy access to registration or just to learn more. Here is where we left off last week with the bike helmet. And the first thing I did was repurpose the bike helmet by turning it upside down and making it her shirt, her blouse, her top. And here all I'm doing so far is just playing with all of the elements that I already have created. Just playing. No sewing, just pinning, unpinning, moving, that kind of thing. As I work this way, I am constantly evaluating what do I like about this, what don't I like about this, what draws my eye, does it draw my eye in a good way, does it draw my eye away from what I want people to look at, all those kind of things. I look at it from different angles, I look at it through my camera, I walk into the other room and get a cup of coffee and come back and look at it again with fresh eyes. It's the same exact thing I do when I'm working on a painting or a mixed media piece. So last time you might remember that I created that dotted stripe, and I really like that piece. It's probably my favorite piece in the whole of everything I've created here so far. And yet you see, I just took it off, and I'm actually taking another panel and folding it and making a skirt out of it. And that is because that stripe was very bold and it was really eye-catching and it drew your eye. It was like the most important thing on the wall. So now you see there's a balance between the sky and her skirt, a relationship. So I don't want to give up on this piece, this striped dotted square piece, because I really love it. Whether it makes it into this quilt or not, it will definitely get used either now or later. But I thought, let's just fold it, see if it works as a belt. A rough pinning, I may say. And here's a little TP trick that I learned from Jane Sassaman in her workshop. And I think she mentioned who she learned it from, though I don't recall that part. But you just unroll a roll of toilet paper where the border would be, and that helps your eye visualize how it will look when it is cut, when it's trimmed, when it's squared up. And that really does help a lot to give you borders. Like I had mentioned before, I do have tape underneath, but I don't always, sometimes obviously things hang over, just like her skirt and her shirt and part of her head. So this is easier to see what you're working with. And honestly, I probably should remove those pieces that are on the side at times, because they can affect what you're doing as well. But they are handy there. So now, I mentioned at the end of the last video that I was not sure I was in love with her face. So here I'm auditioning some other face halves to see if I can find something I like better. I don't always show all of this moving and trying and swapping and reorienting the pieces, but it is a huge part of the process, and it might be kind of boring to watch it. So sometimes I just show you the result rather than the process, but I thought it might be interesting to you to to see just how long it takes, even though I'm not really making you watch the entire thing, just snippets of it, but you get what I'm trying to say, I hope. You know, the other thing is some days you just like to sew and not think about what it's going to be, and some days you don't feel like sewing and you just would rather pin things and rework things, and you know, I think that's a good thing. It's part of the process. Like this piece, I'm tilting now because her head is tilting, but I don't know that that's going to stay on her neck or as a big piece of jewelry around her neck, or if it's going to become a belt buckle, or if it's going to get kicked out of the quilt completely. I just don't know. One thing I do know for sure is that I love La Vida, Colorado and the Estelle Center for Creative Arts.
Nestled in the breathtaking beauty of La Vida, Colorado, the Estelle Center for Creative Arts honors the legacy of Estelle, a beloved grandmother who inspired all those she encountered to pursue art and creativity in the context of community. Her love of beauty and imagination lives on through her granddaughter's dream to draw artists together in a place where they can discover their strengths, freedom, and self-compassion, a place where creative journeys are cherished. At the Estelle Center, we host numerous instructional art retreats throughout the year, led by renowned artists, from quilting to mixed media to writing and more. We've got classes for burgeoning artists looking to expand their skill sets. The venue is also available for rent when you want to host a private retreat among friends. Our stunning Southwestern-inspired retreat center features a large, well-lit workroom and commercial kitchen, as well as 6 uniquely decorated, comfortable guest rooms located upstairs. Reignite your creative passion and purpose in La Vida at the Estelle Center for Creative Arts, where creativity comes to life.
At this point, I'm really not liking the face. So here I am putting up one of my sketches for another half face, and I am thinking maybe I will make a whole new one, and I'm thinking maybe I will use that beloved cherry wood fabric that I have and mix it with some of the other fabrics I have. So I was auditioning them, putting them together, and then I noticed the bottom half of this face, which of course I chopped off to put the top half in the moon or the sun, however you see it. So here I decided, what if I use that? What if I added that? And I got really pretty excited about it when I stood back and looked at it. And I think the reason I like it is, once again, it's about balance. So just like the skirt balances out the sky, this, as part of the face, balances out the face that's in the moon. I still need lips, and I still don't know for sure if this is what I'm going to do. Here I am just tilting the head a bit, one way or the other, to see if it gives the character a little more personality. And now I have to go and get after my cat because she's trying to sneak in my studio, and that means things will be flying off the shelves if I let her in, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Cat's out, dog's in, and I am still trying to find a place for this stripe. Interesting how one piece can really shift the look of the whole piece. Here's that what if question. What if I put it on her head instead? So now I've pressed the edges to get a better look at the proportions. And I'm going to do both places just to see what happens there. And remember how I said I stand back and look at things and decide if it draws my eye in a good way or a bad way? Well, these draw my eye in a bad way. They're too strong, especially with both of them. Too strong. And they sort of, because of the way I cut the stripe, they're looking a little pastel-y, I think, for this particular use. Now, don't hold me to it. I could change my mind, but right now I'm just looking and thinking, I don't think so. And then I thought, what if I continue this black all the way across? And what this will do, I mean, talk about drawing your eye, but it will sort of, I don't know what the word is, it kind of unites the character with the background. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I have done that in other kinds of work. And here I'm thinking it's kind of dark and kind of boring at the bottom there. And what if I took these embroidered pieces and tuck them in along the border there? I have no idea until I see it. Now I decide to move it down so that it's touching the actual border. Definitely breaks up that big pool of darkness down there. Not sure if it's going to stay or go, but next idea I had, since I took down those other arms, was what if I took, do you remember that stripe I was talking about? It's like a 10-inch wide stripe or tall stripe. I took one of those pieces and folded it and decided to see what would that look like as her arm. So that is what you're seeing now. I've cut out all of the time I spend standing across the room looking at this thing and sitting in the chair looking at this thing. But there is a lot of contemplation that goes into it. And here is some of my thoughts. So I need to lower her skirt so that those borders line up. I do like how this blue comes across the bottom of the arm, but I also think it should come down alongside of her torso. And then that black line, I'm thinking, what if it goes up? And what if it goes all the way up behind her head? So that black swirls up, and then that corner will balance with the dark corner in the lower left. That's what I'm thinking now. So here I come with a big black hunk to audition. And you can't tell from here, but the stripe that cuts across the horizon and her waist are actually two different blacks. They appear the same from a distance, but then as you approach the quilt, you notice that they are different blacks. It's one of those things where, people will say, I wonder why she didn't use the same black, or I wonder why she has two different blacks. Like, is there a meaning behind this? Gets people thinking, makes them curious about your work, or judgmental, depending upon their personality. And now I'm putting the face up, and this time I'm tilting it to the left, just to see. I had tilted it outward to the right, toward the border, and now I'm tilting it in, just to see. And I don't have a pin. Let's hope it stays until I find myself a pin or two. Oh, and here we have the audition of the belt buckle. Now I'm starting to feel like this is actually coming together. I'm starting to like the looks of some of the things, and I'm getting very excited about it. And then, if you are a hardcore Quilt Like an Artist watcher, you will recognize something coming up here. First of all, I'm auditioning the lips, but you may remember at one point in one of my videos, and I don't even remember which one it was, this eyeball fell out of some fabrics I was moving, and I went, oops, an eyeball. And look at here, it may just make its way into this quilt. And here you'll see me measure that eye with 3 fingers, and then make sure that I have 3 fingers in between the eyes. So the width of your eye and the space between your eye is typically the same, and that's what I was doing there. From the scrap bag to the design wall. And that is why I love this process. And that's where I'm going to end for this week. And I hope you will check out the Estelle Center for Creative Arts. It's a wonderful facility, and I would love to see you in my workshop, but they have all kinds of other workshops as well. Just click on the link for more information, and I will see you here next week.